Hello Gearslutz, I'm Niles Mischik for Kilpatrick Audio, and I'm here to show you the Carbon. The Carbon sequencer, at the heart of it, is a 64-step sequencer. You can adjust the length of your sequence as well as the start position of your sequence in real time. You have 6 of these 64-step sequences within the Beast, and the different implementations you can use for these sequences are quite broad. For instance, you can use track 2 to bias track 1. So now track 1 could be playing through, and while it's doing that, you can have track 2 at a different clock, maybe transposing track 1 or augmenting track 1 in a different way. We call that biasing, and so the track biasing allows you to get really, really deep with it, as far as being able to modify track 1 with track 2 and modify track 2 with track 3 and so on and so forth. So you can get these unfathomably long patterns. A few cool features. We've got the live mode, where I can have my sequence playing and I can interrupt that sequence with this keyboard, and it will play the notes that I play through the keyboard, and when I stop playing it goes right back to the sequence. I can also record while it's running that, and and the keyboard information that I then insert into this will record to that pattern. You can also record step mode just by turning off the run, or record in real time by having it run and playing then. You have 6 MIDI events per step, so you can output polyphony. On the back here you'll see we've got 4 CV outs, 4 gate outs, 2 MIDI outs, and what's cool about the 2 MIDI outs, rather than being 2 outs for one device, it's actually 2 discrete MIDI devices, so you actually get 32 channels of MIDI. The USB host, which is a really excellent feature. Right now we just have this keyboard plugged into it for manual playing. You can also plug in a class-compliant MIDI to USB device to add even more MIDI functionality to it. It's got a built-in speaker for a metronome, as well as you can use the clock out to headphones for metronome in headphones.
There we go.
And so once you have your 64-step sequence, or however many steps you want, or you have your pattern laid out, you have these overlays, and these affect the gating. And so as you change these patterns, every time you see the square lit up red, it's going to send out a gate pulse, and every time it is not highlighted in red, it will be silent, or there will be no gate. It's cool because the MIDI information will continue to play out through the CV if you want to do accent stuff with other triggers and going further or deeper into the synthesis. But on the surface, that's how the gating works. And you can also record, as you can record your own patterns and steps, we could start, for instance, let's go to a nice full pattern. I could start recording steps here. I'm just going to clear it first. I could start recording steps, and then I can use this to create rests or shapes, and that's how I'm creating my own gate pattern now.
Nice.
Yeah, and so and you can save. You have a song mode where you can do up to 127 scenes per song. What am I missing here? Tap tempo. We've got quantization. One thing I love about the quantizer, you go into the tonality menu and you pick your scale. Like right now we're in the major scale. Let's go to harmonic minor, for instance. Now what I can do is I can go back out to my sequence here. I'm just going to clear it, and I'm going to hit shift and direction, and that's the magic button. And so on the magic button, what it's going to do is it's going to take that quantization that we've assigned to it and spit 64 notes out onto the entire grid. And so then you can just start going. And then as you start overlaying your gate patterns and changing your start time, it's just generating melodies within the key and the quantization that you've assigned to it. It's also got a built-in arpeggiator. As you can do up to 6 MIDI messages per step, you can also arpeggiate those messages per step, or use it as like a monophonic arpeggiator as well. And oh geez, the list is endless. You can go through and step edit as well. So if you do have, for instance, let's say you're sending CC messages instead of just notes over the MIDI, when you're in step edit, you can go through and you can fine-tune perhaps the velocity of each step or note within that step, and really get in detail and do the detail work of your sequence.
How much will it cost when we have it?
This will be retailing for $6.99 American. A few units have hit stores in Germany, Japan, and the US and Canada, but I think it's going to be shipping en masse in about 6 to 8 weeks, we're hoping.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gearslutz. Have a good one.